Today, we're going to tackle a topic that, way too often gets shoved into a folder labeled IT department, and that's cybercrime. But here's the thing, this isn't just about firewalls and complicated code. It's a real, fundamental threat to how businesses operate, and honestly, protecting against it, that's a responsibility that belongs to every single one of us. Just take a second and imagine this message flashing up on your screen, right now. Your files, your customer data, your entire operation, gone, locked up. What do? This isn't some Hollywood scene. This message, in some form, is the exact moment a digital threat becomes a real-world, full-blown crisis. And believe me, it is happening every single day.
So to even begin to figure out how to defend ourselves, we've got to understand what we're actually up against. So for this first part, we're going to break down the anatomy of an attack. Who's behind it? What are they actually doing? And maybe most importantly, why?
Okay, let's get on the same page with a really simple definition. At its absolute core, cybercrime is all about unauthorized access and action. It's not just about stealing stuff, it's about crossing digital boundaries you're not supposed to cross and then causing harm, whether that's messing with data, deleting it, or just using systems that don't belong to you.
All right, so that's the what. But what about the who? Who are these people or these groups that are carrying out these attacks? And what's their end game? Because understanding their motivation, well, that's the key to figuring out what they might do next.
And wow, the cast of characters here is just staggering. You've got nation-states playing these high-stakes geopolitical games. You've got organized cybercriminals who are in it for one thing and one thing only: profit. Then there are the hacktivists, driven by a cause or an ideology. And you even have thrill-seekers who just do it for the bragging rights. The main point here is that the threat isn't just one thing. It's this whole complex ecosystem of different players with totally different motives.
So how do these digital attacks actually turn into real-world consequences? Well, let's take a look at the playbook attackers use, not just to steal some data, but to literally bring a company to its knees.
The ripple effect of an attack is it's devastating. It all starts with the obvious: increased costs. You're paying for recovery, maybe some hefty regulatory fines, new security tools, but that's just the beginning. It quickly spirals. Your operations just grind to a halt. You might be forced to completely change how you do business just to survive. Then, your reputation, which you spent years building, takes a massive hit. And what does that lead to? Lost revenue. All while your company's most valuable secrets, your intellectual property, could be gone forever. It's this cascade of failure that can all start with just one single click.
It's so easy to think of this as some faceless digital crime, but this quote really nails it. The victims are very, very real. Employees can lose their jobs, customers can lose their life savings, entire businesses can just crumble. And to see how these real-world consequences play out on the ground, we really need to look at a specific case.
So let's zoom in. We're going to take a closer look at the situation in Zimbabwe to really understand how these threats that we see everywhere manifest in a very unique and often really challenging local environment.
Just look at this number, over 766. That's how many pyramid and investment scams were investigated in just over 10 months last year. This is not some abstract, theoretical threat. This is a widespread, active assault on people's finances, and it's happening right now.
And the methods they're using are all over the map. Attackers are using everything from, old-school card cloning to really sophisticated scams like business email compromise, where they pretend to be the CEO to trick an employee into wiring money. They're hitting individuals on social media, and they're hitting businesses right where it hurts the most.
So why? Why is this happening on such a massive scale there? Well, it's basically a perfect storm of different factors. You've got a shortage of financial and technical resources, and you combine that with system-wide issues like poor infrastructure and the crazy high cost of bandwidth, and what you get is an environment where it's just so much harder for businesses and people to defend themselves. These aren't just isolated problems, they all feed on each other, creating even bigger vulnerabilities.
Okay, so we've seen the problem up close. Let's pull back out. Where do we possibly go from here? The point isn't to give up. It's about understanding that the future of business security is a fight, and it's a fight we all need to join.
I absolutely love this concept, digital Darwinism. It frames the situation perfectly. See, cybersecurity isn't just another box to check for compliance anymore. It's a core part of survival. In this digital age, if you can't adapt to new threats, you're looking at an evolutionary dead end. It's that simple.
And this requires a really fundamental shift in how we think. We have to move away from this reactive posture of fear and uncertainty where we're always playing catch-up.
Instead, we need to start treating cybersecurity like a scientific discipline. It's a risk that has to be managed, measured, and strategically dealt with, even if we know it can never be completely solved.
And when you boil it all down, it comes back to this one core idea. Cybersecurity is a shared responsibility. It belongs to the CEO, to the marketing team, to the person at the front desk, just as much as it does to the IT department. Why? Because your strongest firewall is absolutely useless if your team isn't trained to spot a threat. The human element, that's the new perimeter.
Let's end on this image. It's a powerful horse, held in place by a cheap plastic chair. It's a perfect metaphor for our own security mindset, isn't it? The barriers we face aren't always technical. A lot of the time, they're mental. It's that little voice that says, "Oh, it won't happen to me," or "That's somebody else's job." So the final question I'll leave you with is this. What plastic chair is holding your organization's security back?